going on, guys? Listen, today I'm gonna do a reaction video. I found this young lady, man, a Latino lady, and she does warehousing and trucking, right? One of the two best things that I can relate to, other than real estate. And I'm looking into getting into warehousing myself. I know a lot about it, just haven't got my building yet, but I want to know what she's talking about, how she did it, and all of the above. She's on Truck and Hustle. Go follow Truck and Hustle, man. If you guys don't know who that is, he does a lot of entrepreneurs on his podcast. But this young lady talks about how she got into the trucking field, into the warehouse space. She gives insight on how it's done and how it's not easy. It's hard, but it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what she got to say. I'm gonna come in and out of the video, and just give my 2 cents and what I think and what I like, what I don't like. You know, reaction video. So let's talk about it.
Still early. So what was the business plan? Did you guys have a plan? Did you know what was your North Star? Where was the company going? Were you just kind of winging it every day?
No business plan. I'm not going to lie to you. At the beginning, there was no business plan. The business plan was to make it to the next day. I had no knowledge.
Hey, what I will say is that do not start a business without a business plan. Some people do. I did myself. But it's harder that way. It's best if you have your eye on the site and know what you're doing, how you're gonna do it, and where you want to take this company to. People like me and her, we winged it, but we became successful. She did too, also. But I wouldn't say hop in it without a business plan. Let's not take that advice, but let's keep going.
How to run a business, what it really takes to plan and to have goals. I was only 24 years old, and I feel like I wasn't business mature to know what it really took. I was just kind of winging it every day, and when people, I always find myself on YouTube, listening to other people interview about how they made it and all this stuff. And they always say, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I could relate to that. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that the plan was that we needed to make it to the next day, that we wanted more trucks, that we wanted to grow our fleet. How I was going to do that, I didn't know. I was just putting one foot in front of the other, like Kobe said. You know what I mean? That people tend to think, well, I need to be at this level at this time, or at this level at this time. And you're looking to your left, you're looking to your right, and you're seeing all these people pass right by you. But sometimes it's not all about that. I think that if I look back, I wouldn't change anything, because I took it step by step. Where, okay, we have 3 trucks now. We have enough money to add another one. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And the goal was just to make sure that, at least for me, was that the partnerships that I had created weren't going anywhere, because I knew that that's what was feeding us.
Hey, what's up? Instead of rushing to work for someone else.
We are here live at OTR Solutions HQ. I'm here with my partner, Jonathan. Man, listen, factoring is an integral part.
I was, my aunt was day dispatching, I was night dispatching, but I was also invoicing during the day and doing sales calls during the day. Right. So like, we were just doing it all. And as we started to grow, I was like, oh, I can't do it all. Like, I can't invoice 20 invoices in one day, talk to the client, dispatch at night. Like, I need to sleep at some point. So I feel like as we started to grow, I really thought about what type of structure I wanted in the company. And that's when I started to think about, okay, like, if we make it, we have to make sure that our foundation is strong, and that we start adding people that are going to actually help us grow, instead of causing, more issues that I could be causing myself to try to do everything by myself.
Yeah.
So we started to look for people that actually brought talent to the team, where if I had to be pulled to do something,
All right, so what I will say is that even in my company, man, you definitely need a team to run a company and be successful. A company is not a one-man show. It's not a one-woman show. You definitely need a team to make a big company successful. Nothing is done on your own. You need time to rest. You need time to sleep. Your body needs rest or it will shut down. We all know that. So she did it the right way. When she realized that it was too much to take on, she hired help. So understand that you're going to need help. Everyone needs help. Don't be so prideful to not want help. Hire who you need to hire, get help, and grow this company. But let's keep going.
Wasn't worried in the back of my head, is it going to get done? Is someone going to actually catch the ball and, go all the way? And that took me some time to learn, because I thought that I could do it all myself, but you really can't. You need a team. You need a good team in order to go through the next levels that most businesses go through.
For sure. Tell me about adding those pieces, because there's probably a lot of people watching that are in that spot right now, right? How did you go about adding those pieces? What was the first pieces that you added, to the team to kind of bring things together? Can you just expound on that?
The first two things the first two people that we added were actually actual day dispatcher. So he could help us with all the movements during the day, and I wouldn't have to do that myself or my aunt. And then we added accounting.
Okay.
So I would go back to accounting, because that was the one thing. We actually added 2 people to accounting because we needed a good flow. As soon as that load was done, so to have someone invoice it and send it out, so the money wasn't sitting there. Because when money's sitting there that's not on paper yet, that the client doesn't physically have and that you can charge, that's another week that you could have already had that money.
Yeah.
Going from survival mode my whole life to having enough money to take my kids.
Yeah.
So we definitely started to add those little pieces in as we grew. And then as I grew, I started to add managers and to have other people in charge and actually delegate certain things, because I found myself that I just didn't have time for it all.
Yeah. Driver managers or just like operational managers?
We have operational managers, we have warehouse managers, we have accounting managers.
Right.
So we have like a good set of managers that just direct every department that we have to make sure that everything's flowing.
Okay. Got it. So you continue to grow in the intermodal drayage lane. So that becomes like your thing. That becomes your niche. That becomes the plan.
Yes.
Right? Tell me about how you start to scale. Are you adding your own trucks? Are you looking at owner operators? Are you leasing guys on? Tell me about how you thought about that and how you got into whatever direction you went into.
Yeah. So because we didn't have enough capital at the time, buying a truck was, luxury. And we didn't want to get into a lot of debt so early. So what we ended up doing is we ended up just hiring owner operators. And then the trucks that we were buying, we were not leasing them, but selling them to drivers that wanted to become owner operators.
Got it.
My dad was like, oh, I saw this company did that, and it really helps manage your expenses, because now you have a guy that's gonna, buy this truck from you in the next 2 years.
Right.
And he's paying it off and working for you at the same time.
Right.
So we actually did that for half of the years we've been open.
Okay.
For the first 4 years, that's what we were doing. So we were buying trucks, selling them to drivers that wanted to become owner operators. And then after we were always do like a 2-year contract. Okay. Where it was a used truck.
Ding, ding, ding. And that's smart right there. That's something I never done, but that just definitely rung my bells. You can buy trucks and lease them to owner ops. Like, that's definitely something that really piqued my interest, man. That's smart. If you guys watching this, definitely write that down, man. Take notes. She's a smart woman.
You'd pay it off in 2 years. We'd help you with, getting diesel, getting the permits, doing the IFTA, everything that comes along with owning a truck. Yeah. And, kind of teach you to do all that. And then 2 years after, they'd be done paying it, and they'd still stay with me and work with me. So that was the game plan we had. Okay. And then what I started to notice is that, unfortunately, when you do have owner operators, you need to have a bigger margin of profit, because whatever the line haul and fuel cost, you have to give that to the owner operator. You have to give 70% of that to the owner operator because it's their own equipment, their own diesel. So your profit margin becomes smaller and smaller.
Yeah. What profit margin were you running at that time?
Real talk. Starting a business isn't for the faint of heart. That's why over 1 million entrepreneurs started.
I think we were doing in the good old days, I think it was like 25%.
Okay.
But I remember I feel like in 2017, 2018, there was kind of not a decline in imports, but there was kind of like a tight nudge on rates. And in order for me to be more competitive and get set lanes where I'm like, okay, this company's gonna give me, 30 loads a week to go to this location all the time. I couldn't be competitive.
Yeah.
Because I had to pay most of it to the owner operator. And then there wasn't enough profit margin to pay the dispatcher, to pay accounting, to pay the rent, to pay all the things that you pay in order to operate.
Right.
So what we started doing is we started buying trucks and having our own drivers, do the lanes that were just a bit more competitive.
Okay.
And then in 2019, that's when the whole AB5 thing happened. And then that's when my dad and I were like, actually, you know what? We should probably continue to do this because they passed it. The people think that the AB5 law here in California is new.
Yeah.
But no, that was coming since 2018. We knew about it. It just wasn't, it didn't go into effect.
And just expound on that for people who may not know what the AB5 law is.
So the AB5 law is basically, in short term, you can't hire, as a company, you can't hire someone that does the same thing you're doing as an independent contractor or paying them 1099. If you're a carrier and you hire another carrier, you're violating the law already. So in order for us not to do that, we have to hire these people as W-2 employees.
Right.
So that law came into effect in I don't know if it's 2018, 2019. I just remember it was right before COVID. So then when COVID happened, it was supposed to go into effect, I think 2020 or something like that. And then it went into, I don't remember what group it was that basically not sued them, but when they're trying to challenge it.
Yeah.
And then they had put a stop to it for like 6 to 8 months until they determined whether they were going to move forward or not. And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So
perfect storm.
Yeah, perfect storm. So then we were able to, keep the owner operators and continue to add actual trucks to our fleet because we knew it was coming no matter what. So we didn't want that to be thrown in our face where we weren't going to be able to operate because we were just an owner operator based company.
Got you. So you guys were transitioning that way anyway before it actually happened.
Yeah.
And because it was good for your bottom line.
Yes, because at the end I was able to be more competitive with the lanes that I wanted to win if we kept everything in-house.
Got it. All right. So we fast forward to around COVID. Tell me when things really start to explode for you guys, or if there's any moment where the trajectory just like shot up. Like, just give me an idea. What
Definitely
that looked like.
COVID times.
Okay.
Definitely COVID times. Before COVID, I think we ended the year with about 15 trucks. And we were kind of scaling up little by little. But during COVID times, the growth that the whole country had in terms of spending was insane. So there was such a demand for imports coming out of the port. And we found ourselves in this era of trucking here in Southern California where rates were doubling like crazy. There were, containers just dwelling out on the vessel in the ocean, not being able to dock because there's just no room.
Right.
And because there was no room, you had a bunch of empties out on the street. Like, I remember driving around and I would see a container parked in every street because there was no room to put the empties because the terminals had no room for the empties to get brought in.
Right.
So obviously supply and demand, right? the prices for rates went up. I mean, it was a good time to be in trucking. I had a friend start a trucking company during COVID, and they grew as fast as it took me 4 years to grow.
I like everything she said, honestly. I didn't really see nothing I didn't like. I'm gonna make a part 2 to this video, man, because we ran out of time. But when it comes to her, I like her a lot. She's definitely knowledgeable in the trucking lane and the trucking field. Me being someone who owns the trucking company myself, I can relate to a lot of things that she's talking about. You know, the COVID times. COVID was paying a lot of money. COVID was definitely paying a lot of money. I can relate to a lot of things that she was talking about in that video. So, great video, man. Definitely gonna make a part 2 because I have about 30 more minutes of watching her. But my time is running out today. So, I'm gonna make another video. Actually, later on today, actually. Yeah. So, be tuned for part 2. Stay tuned for part 2. Like, subscribe, comment to my video if you like this video. Share my content. I'm trying to get out there. Thank you guys very much. And I'll see you guys till next time.